Hi, everybody's experiences tell a different story, and you hear stories enough, hopefully you gain a perspective and take what helps you from that story and apply it in a productive manner, and then letting go of what may not be been so helpful. But my story is one of cancer. I was married in 92, and in 2000 I had lost my first husband to terminal brain cancer. And 2 years ago I was able to take care of my mother along with my sister as she navigated through the final stages of cancer. And then, of course, this year, I have been diagnosed with breast cancer. Each one of those have been distinctly different experiences. But I also think that through each one, I've experienced a lot of growth in learning how to work through some of this. And just spiritual growth in knowing that I've become a better person as a result from this experience and the experiences. But I guess my first thing I wanted to share about today was in regard to the shock of it all when you first find out. When Stain and I were married in 1999, my oldest child was 2 at the time, and he'd had such a limited understanding of what was going on around him, and I was thankful for that, because I always felt that a child that was older would be more damaged as a result of the horrible experience that they go through. And in this situation, it was death. My husband's death. My son's father, who passed away at a very young age. And how we found out about it is he started getting headaches. And we were up at a wedding up in Ohio, my cousin's wedding. And he kept going to the emergency room experiencing headaches. First time they sent him back and said, well, it's a sinus infection. And then they sent him back again and said, well, we got it this time, it's an ear infection. And then the third time we went in, we found out that he actually had cancer. A CAT scan picked it up. And they transferred us to Columbus, a bigger hospital. And I can remember going into a room with my family members. It just so happened my mom and my sister were up for the wedding, and then also my brother and sister-in-law were around. And I can't remember exactly who was in the room, but we went back in this room and the doctor explained to us that a CAT scan picked up a lot. You know, he showed us the brain, and he said that there's branches and branches of cancer inside of your brain, is what they said to Stain. And it sort of took us all by surprise. Stain was experiencing headaches, and along with that, almost like stroke-like. Noticed that his face was swollen up, but I couldn't really differentiate that from just feeling miserable and being swollen from a sinus infection. But now that I'm older, I know the difference that that one is much more serious than what I thought it was at the time. I was too young to even think that anything like that would ever happen to us. When we were told, I can just remember the shock and disbelief, and time stands still. You feel like you're a robot just walking through the motions. Everything's going on around you, but you are totally just walking through the motions. And when I went through it this year, when I first found out this year, I had found a lump, not thinking much of it, because really there's not a strong history of cancer on either side of my family. And when I went into the doctor, I had asked them, I said, I've noticed a lump. What should I do? And they referred me to get a mammogram. And I went in and I had the mammogram, and then I had a radiation doctor come in and take a closer look, and was told that at that point it was something very concerning. Now, knowing what I'd been through with my husband, the first thing that came to my mind was the worst possible. And of course, this was early spring of this year. And so I went in and I finally told him, I said, look, I said, you all, if this so happens, and by this point they've pretty much felt that it was cancer. They just needed a biopsy to absolutely confirm their high suspicion. And I told them, I said, look, if this is cancer, I can take any type of pain. You can give me the chemo, make me sick, lose my hair, lose my breast. Just don't hurt my family through this. I don't want to go through the same kind of hurt that my family did. I definitely don't want my family to go through the hurt that I did with Stain and what happened with him. And I can remember telling them, just don't hurt my family. You can do whatever you need to me, but just promise me that this, whatever I'm about to be up against, that it doesn't hurt my family. So that's the initial part of my diagnosis, was a shock. And probably through the rest of this week, I might be sharing some other information as it applies. But I hope that this wasn't too boring, and I hope that this story can be of benefit or use to someone else who may be experiencing one, either being a caregiver or two, being a patient. This is just step one, so stay tuned. I'll have a lot more information that I want to share. Goodbye.